a single entry. Class 1 going to be entering the ring now. Beginner showmanship is aged out at 10. This will also be your champion beginner showmanship class. We'll move into juniors and then to seniors. We'll take a short break to do photos after that, and then we'll move into the rest of the show. So entering the ring now is Ilaria Cockburn. Class 1 beginner showmanship.
A really good way to kick off the sheep show here today, and we have a single entry here in the beginner showmanship, and really one that I think the young lady can stand a lot more competition. Really good in terms of working to get the foot placement. I think she does a good job getting that weather to brace hard and consistently the whole time she's out here. You know, one thing for me up front, maybe stand up just a little more, get the neck kind of back there into his body just a notch more. Maybe when I come around the front, just lean down and correct those front feet. But really good job in terms of consistently getting that weather to brace and drive for you. I think you certainly have a bright future ahead of you. Congratulations.
Congratulations to our champion beginner sheep showman, Ilaria Cockburn. We'll be moving into our junior showmanship. Entering the ring now is our Class 2 junior showman, Avea Burgett, Tegan Durner, Jory Miller, Sage Durner, Parker Dundon, and Brinley Anderson. Once again, this is our junior showmanship. We will place the top 5 in this class. Top 5 junior showmen. Class 3 of senior showmanship, please be getting checked in. Class 3, we need you checked in at the ring. Class 4, make sure you're going to be ready here shortly.
You know, only one heat of junior showmanship, and I think 5 excellent ones out here. For me, it gets really close up here up front, and probably a couple nitpicky little things, a couple smaller details there as we get into it. A young lady up front that's going to win, for me, was just probably the most consistent start to finish when we came in. She gets those feet set, she gets in to brace that weather, and he doesn't move. I think she's really good in terms of getting the feet set, getting them put up. You know, as I go around the front view, maybe the thing that kind of just separates her from the young lady that's going to be in second is just more consistent in terms of having those front feet square. From the front view, she's calm, she's poised, she knows where I am at all times. Maybe sometimes for me on the side, this weather wants to rock forward just a little bit, just kind of re-pick up that front end and get it set down. Young lady in second, when she gets this one stuck from the side, I think she's the best, and I don't think it's close. I really like in terms of how square, how proportionate that weather's put together. I like her hand placement up front. For me, you get around the front view, maybe just kind of set those feet down just a little squarer on that front view. Awfully good job. Congratulations. Young lady that's going to be here in third, you know, again, I like her natural posture up front. I like in terms of her foot placement there. Sometimes when she wants to get in, maybe set those feet first before you get in to brace real hard. As you drive into him and pull him out, he wants to roach in his spine just a little bit. Just get those feet set into him, calmly get in there for a brace so he can relax. I think it'll help you when we get in here to the show later on. Congratulations. Young man that's going to come next, maybe a little bit younger out here. Again, really, really good in terms of fundamentals. Really good in terms of getting that weather to brace. I like how you allow him to kind of relax there in terms of his spine, still get him to drive relatively well. You know, for me, as we get into it, as I move around the sheep, maybe just calmly step away quicker when I'm around for a front view. I think that moves you up a couple spots, but certainly a bright future ahead of you. Young man that's going to be here in fifth. For me, really good job getting that ewe-lamb to brace. Maybe just continue to work on getting those back feet set up a little square, a little more consistent. Congratulations, all these exhibitors. That's a really, really nice heat of junior showman.
That was our champion drive of junior showmanship. Champion goes to Avea Burgett. Reserve champion goes to Jory Miller. Third, Tegan Durner. Fourth, Parker Dundon. And fifth, Sage Durner. We will be entering our senior showmanship with our first heat: Ava Roundy, Rebecca Gardner, Caden Healy Mitchell, Keenan McNearney, Kylie Davies, Anthony Quick, and Afton McIntosh. Once again, this is our first heat, Class 3 of senior showmanship in the ring. Class 4, you should be checked in, and Class 5 headed this way. Once again, Class 3 senior showmanship in the ring now. Seniors, our judge is Bobby Strecker, coming to us from Colorado, where he currently works as the regional sales manager for ABS Global, managing Nebraska, Wyoming, and Colorado. Alongside his wife and 2 kids, they own and operate S&S Livestock, where they raise and sell competitive show wethers and does across the Midwest and West. Bobby grew up on a diversified livestock operation in Lexington, Virginia, where his family actively raised and sold show cattle. Bobby attended Hutchinson Community College in Kansas and Colorado State University, where he was a member of the livestock judging teams and received a degree in animal sciences. Thank you, Bobby, for coming up here and judging our youth shows this weekend, both the goat show yesterday and the sheep show today.
A really good heat to kick off our senior showmanship, and we have 3 heats of these, so going to ask a couple of these to come back for our champion drive. For me, it comes down to just consistency, getting the feet right, making sure that those lambs are not too stretched out, they're bracing correctly, not over driving as well. For me, the young lady up front, the young lady in the black here in the middle, and the young lady here on the end, I'm going to ask to come back. A couple different things. A young lady right here in the middle does a really good job. Sometimes that lamb wants to just over push just a little bit. Okay, just set off of them just a little bit, get a little bit calmer into it. I think you're coming back out here for the next. But look forward to having those 3 out. If you would, please put your hands together for all these exhibitors in the ring.
Entering the ring now is our second heat of senior showmanship. This is Class 4. We'll have Athena Schwiart, Cooper Sanchez, Mahia Jones, Violet Browning, Briley Stiver, Molly Wilson, Abigail Robertus, and Cooper Dundon. Entering the ring now is Class 4, our second heat of senior showmanship. Class 5, our third heat of seniors. You need to be checked in. Mechanic Cockburn, we need you checked in for your Class 5 senior showmanship. Mechanic Cockburn, we need you checked in for your senior class.
Well, I think we really turned it up a notch when we get into this heat, and I think really all 7 of them out here, or all 8 of them out here, do an extremely good job. Going to end up pulling 4 of them back out of this heat when we get down to it, and not to take away from 1 or 2 that are going to be left out here and not get to come back. Again, this heat I think is awfully good, and comes down to nitpicky things. I think head carriage on the walk, making sure that lamb's neck's still coming out of the backside of his shoulder, the pace that they're on, I think is really critical. Young lady there in front of me, she's going to come back. Young lady in the yellow shirt, young lady directly in front of me with the natural weather, and then the young man in front of me here with the pink shirt as well. So look forward to having those 4 back out here. Young man there on the end, I think is just so close. Just a little bit as we get out here, kind of that head moving around, the neck a little bit there. Just keep that in there the whole time phenomenal job when you get them put together. Congratulations to all these exhibitors. That's an awfully good heat of showmen.
Congratulations. Returning for our championship overdrive out of Class 4, we'll have Cooper Sanchez, Violet Browning, Briley Starvey, and Abigail Robertus. Entering the ring now is our last class of senior showmanship. This is our third heat of them, Class 5, if you're following along in the program. We will have Messiah Jones, Wyatt Halbron, Lindy Fillingham, McKenna Cockburn, Casey Huang, Xander Oliver, and Xander Brixley. Once again, this is Class 5, Heat 3 of our senior showmanship, and then we'll move into our championship drive. Right after that, we'll take photos. But parents, exhibitors, everybody watching out there in the stands, make sure you take the time and thank Fleet Farm for sponsoring the Black Hill Stock Show Youth Show, as well as High Hog Farm and Ranch Equipment, South Dakota Farmers Union, Outback Steakhouse, and Farm Credit Services of America.
Well, another good heat of seniors here to round it out, and I think in here maybe just some little pieces on each of them that maybe we can modify and edit just a little bit. I'm going to elect to bring 3 back out of here. You know, I guess for me, we get into the sheep show and especially seniors. I'm probably not a big fan of halters on sheep, personally. You know, I think a couple of those that are out here with halters still do an extremely good job and merit to come back. The young lady down here with the little ewe lamb, she's going to come back. young lady directly in front of me, and then the young man there in front of me as well with his natural U. I'll have those three come back out for our champion senior drive. Young lady up front, excellent job. Walked in, I thought phenomenal. Just continue to work on making sure he stands still there and feet stay with him. I think if his feet stay in him, we get that a little bit more consistent. I think you're coming back out here, and there's no question about it. Really good heat of seniors. Look forward to getting back out here for our champion drive.
This will be our champion senior sheep showmanship. Entering the ring now from Class 3, we will have Rebecca Gardner, Caden Healy Mitchell, and Afton McIntosh. From Class 4, we will have Cooper Sanchez, Violet Browning, Brinley Stivey, and Molly Wilson. From Class 5, we will have Wyatt Heilbrunn, Lindy Fillingham, and Casey Wang. Once again, this is our senior sheep showmanship. Everybody that's watching in the stands, if you put your hands together for the senior showmanship out here, putting on a clinic with nice skills. Beginner and junior showmanship winners with placings through 5th. Make sure you're coming back up here as soon as the seniors are done if you're not watching them. That way we can do your photos with the backdrop up here. You will not need your lambs.
What a drive for senior showmanship. I think there's 10 extremely good ones out here, and there's a young man that was in this second heat of seniors that I think did a phenomenal job, and he was in a tough heat and didn't get to come back out. But I do think he's in the running with all these that are out here as well, and so maybe he didn't get to make it out here, but really want to commend him again just on the job he did. I think this top five is very, very close. I think the sixth place individual is very, very good. But for me, the young lady that wins, she did so in the heat. I think she did out here as well. I really like just her pace. I really like her consistency. I think of these top four, she is the best in terms of foot placement. She's the best in terms of the head placement there of that weather as we get out here on the brace. Phenomenal job there. Young lady in second, probably the other one, and maybe the one that's probably worked the hardest out here in terms of getting that weather put together. Really good in terms of her foot placement. Again, I like how she holds the head and her natural posture up front. That's why she ends up in second compared to the ones in third and fourth. For me, sometimes those front feet want to get a little bit out, just kind of get those back into them just a little bit more. Phenomenal showman. It gets pretty close between third and fourth here for me. Again, back in that heat, a really tough heat, I think they did a really good job in there in terms of the consistency, in terms of their pace when you're on the move. For me, maybe the young lady in third just seems a little more natural up front today in terms of her posture. For me, on both of them, I'd like them to be the young lady with the natural weather. Maybe he wants to get under himself and crunched up just a little bit. Maybe just extend them out, stretch them out ever so slightly. Still a really good job. Young lady that comes next, I think probably a better job in terms of the foot placement. I think that ewe-lamb is spot on in terms of her leg placement. Maybe just not as comfortable up front today in terms of your posture, but still, I think four very, very good showmen, probably four showmen that have won a lot of showmanship contests across the country. Young lady that's going to end up here in fifth. Bigger ewe-lamb out here, really wants to drive and push into you. Probably the best in the class in terms of getting the best brace out of your ewe-lamb. She's firm, she's correct in terms of her handle, really good in terms of that, really good in terms of your pace. Maybe just not as quick in terms of getting the feet set up as a couple ahead of you. Still an awfully nice job. Want to just commend the young man that's going to be here in sixth. Probably the most different showman we have out here. You know, I actually really like the uniqueness you bring to the table in terms of your front view, in terms of getting that lamb set up. You're very calm, you're very collected, never sweated out here. Maybe just not as consistent in terms of the back foot placement. Maybe that ewe-lamb wants to roll out in her hock just a little bit and throw it off. But still, really good job. On down the line, I think, again, 10 extremely good showmen. Commend the young lady that's going to be there in eighth in terms of losing that halter when she gets back out here. Again, excellent job. Please put your hands together for this champion drive of seniors.
Congratulations to our champion senior showman from Class 4, Heat 2, Briley Stivar. Second place, a reserve champion senior showman, goes to Caden Healy Mitchell. Third place, Violet Browning. Fourth, Molly Wilson. And fifth, Afton McIntosh. We're going to quickly do our showmanship pictures, our beginner, junior, and senior showmanship pictures here at the backdrop. So we're going to take a short 5-minute recess here, and then we'll move into the rest of our show. Once again, make sure you guys thank Cattle Business Weekly, Texaco Panels, Tri-State Livestock News, WW Livestock Equipment, and the Western Legacy Foundation, investing in the future by raising money for scholarships that benefit the rural youth in agriculture. Thank you to our sponsors for our goat and sheep show this weekend. We greatly appreciate it. Sponsoring the youth and giving good prizes to them and letting them know how much they're appreciated to come to the Black Hills Stock Show. Parker, we do need you for the junior showmanship pitcher, Parker. Class 1 is going to be entering the ring soon. We need McKenna Cockburn. McKenna, we need you with your Class 1 Dorset Market Lamb. Moving into the ring here shortly. Also, beginner, junior, and senior championship winners, 1 through 5th places. Make sure you go see Riley by the prize table. She does have banners for you guys as well, to make sure you grab those and pick them up today. Hopefully here relatively soon before we get moving into the Market Lamb show. We are beginning our Market Lamb show. Entering the ring now is Class 1 Dorset Market Lambs. Ranging in weights from 162 to 173, we have Cooper Sanchez, Ava Roundy, and McKenna Cockburn. Once again, this is Class 1 Dorset Market Lambs. This will also be your championship drive. Classes 2 and 3 of Hampshires, please be making your way to the ring. Classes 2 and 3, Hampshire Market Lambs, please be making your way to the ring and getting checked in. In the ring is our champion and reserve champion Market Lamb class for Dorsets.
Well, kick off the Market Lamb show and really three very different kinds out here. And the young man I'm going to use to win this class and be your champion, Dorset, maybe not what you expect, I guess, from in the Market Lamb class, maybe a notch more moderate. I guess for me in this class, three lambs that maybe from a composition, a freshness, and a handling standpoint, I'd like to modify. For me, this young man's ewe lamb is probably the best in terms of her rack. I think she's the widest and spans the most width over her loin. I'd like to modify her when she gets into motion, wants to raise up and get a notch tight in her spine. I just think in terms of genuine muscle, genuine dimension, she's still the best. Young lady's weather is going to be here in second. Taller shouldered, longer sided, leveler there out of her dock. I get my hands on him, maybe just a notch staler. I study him from the side, like to modify how he's put together in terms of his lower body balance, shorten him up in his blade, drop him in his flank. Still a nice weather for the young lady. Young lady that's going to round out here in third, one that for me just needs a shot more to him. Get your hands on him, maybe just not as dimensional as the two that are above him. Still a really nice profiling kind of a sheep, just like to modify him at this weight, see a notch more dimension, true muscle shape when you get your hands on him. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Look forward to the rest of the day.
Champion Dorset Market Lamb, shown by Cooper Sanchez, weighing in at 162. Reserve champion Dorset Market Lamb, shown by McKenna Cockburn, weighing in at 173. Entering the ring now is our single entry Class 2 Hampshire Market Lambs, weighing in at 116.
A nice single entry to kick off the Hamp division, and one that I think you really like just in terms of her shape and muscle dimension. One that's big in her rack, big in her pin set. One at this weight is still a little green, still a little hard from a composition standpoint. You still like the meat animal and market animal fundamentals she brings to the table. Look forward to getting her back out here in the division drive.
Class 3, you are due at the ring. We need Casey and Molly. Class 3, you're due at the ring. We need Casey and Molly. Class 4, you need to be checked in. First place goes to Athena Schwehart, and Class 2 weighing in at 116. Entering the ring now is our Class 3 Hampshire Market Lambs, ranging in weights from 129 to 137. Once again, this is Class 3 Hampshire Market Lambs, ranging in weights from 129 to 137. We'll have Casey Quang, Tegan Durner, Sage Durner, and Molly Wilson. Class 4, you need to be checked in. Class 5, you need to be headed to the ring.
Casey Kwong, Raina Johnson, Anthony Quick, and Lindy Fillingham. Your class is lining up right now. We need you up here.
A nice pair of lambs here at the top end of this class. A young lady's whether I'm going to use to win. For me, does so rather handily. Love this one's look and presence when you study him from the side. One that's elevated up front. He's short bladed. He's good in terms of his body shape. You know, I really like him over the other three, just in terms of his trimness, his freshness, in terms of his rack shape. You know, maybe one that I'd like to just square up and freshen up in his loin edge, and especially that gives the edge to the young lady's ewe lamb that's going to be in second. This is one that is really bold, very dimensional in terms of how she's put together. Really like the freshness, squareness, and width she has there over her loin, dimension there out of her hip and her leg shape. Maybe one we get her braced up from the side. She wants to drop there in her chest. Kind of just doesn't relax and show overly well for you. I think that is one dimensional, bold-bodied, big back kind of a ewe lamb. Like to maybe trim her up just a touch just for the market lamb show. Awfully nice pair on the top end. think there's some give and take here in third and fourth. Young man's ewe lamb I'm going to use here in third, for me, is probably a notch more ideal from a composition standpoint. Reads with a notch more width and shape there over a rack. You know, maybe one I would still like to just balance up a notch better from the side, but still an awfully nice project for the young man. Young lady's going to round out the class. You know, for me, it's just maybe structurally, maybe a notch more forward there in her shoulder, maybe just doesn't want to profile relax in her spine ever when you study her from the side, but still one that offers some dimension, spans with some width. Just like to trim her up a little bit, see her a notch better in terms of her shoulder shape and elevation up front. Really nice class, really nice pair there on the top end.
That was our Class 3 Hampshire Market Lambs leaving the ring now. First place goes to Molly Wilson. Second, Casey Quang. Third, Sage Durner. And fourth, Tegan Durner. Entering the ring now is Class 4 Hampshire Market Lambs, ranging in weights from 144 to 149. We will have Raina Johnson, Xander Brixley, Anthony Quick, and Lindy Fillingham. Once again, Class 4 Hampshire Market Lambs in the ring now. Class 5, you need to be checked in, and Class 6, you need to be headed to the ring.
Nice pair on here on the top end that really do a good job in terms of market fundamentals. Both of them are certainly above adequate in terms of muscle. I really like their shape. Young lady's ewe lamb I'm going to start with, for me, does so just in motion. I think this one's just more correct in terms of how she's allowed to get her neck out of the top side of her shoulder. She has more reach. She's more relaxed in her spine. I think she better utilizes her hip and her hind leg. You get your hands on her, really impressive in terms of her rack, really correct from a composition standpoint. I would like to see just a notch more fill there to her flank and to her rear rib, but still awfully nice ewe lamb the young lady brings in here. whether it's going to be in second. Certainly Rivals our class winner in terms of just top shape and dimension. For me, you set this one in motion, and just in terms of how he's put together in his skeleton, I'd like to rearrange. I'd like to see him just a notch more laid back there in his shoulder. I'd like to relax him in his spine, just see him get out and go with more authority there off of his hip and his hind leg. But still, trim, fresh, high cutability sheep there that's going to be in second. Young man that's going to be here in third, really a tall-shouldered, long-sided, correct in terms of his lines, one that still has a nice touch to him, maybe gives up some wow factor to the ones above him. I would like to see just a notch more depth of twist and shape to his leg, but still one. I like his balance and profile from the side. Really a big-footed, really a stout-made kind of a wether that's going to round out the class. Certainly doesn't give up anything in here in terms of just width and true product. Maybe just a notch plainer in how he's put together. I'd like to strengthen him up there in his loin there from the side, but still very fundamental, very practical, big-footed, rugged-made kind of a sheep. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
That was Class 4 Hampshire Market Lambs leaving the ring. First place goes to Raina Johnson. Second, Lindy Fillingham. Third, Anthony Quick. And fourth, Xander Brixley. Entering the ring now is Class 5 Hampshire Market Lambs, ranging in weights from 154 to 162. Once again, Hampshire Market Lambs in the ring now, Class 5, ranging in weights from 154 to 162. We have Brinley Anderson, Mahia Jones, Jory Miller, Alaria Cockburn, and Caden Healy Mitchell. This is Class 5 Hampshire Market Lambs in the ring. Class 6, you need to be checked in. Class 7, headed to the ring. Class 6 checked in. Class 7 headed to the ring, and then we will move into our champion drive for the Hampshires.
Really a nice pair here at the top end of this class. Young lady, I'm going to start with really, you get your three-quarter view of that one, and that's for me where he wins. I think just the dimension there out of his hip, I think just more turn there in terms of the seat of his britches just offers a notch more shape, a notch more dimension. Like this one, when you get your hands on him, you know, compared to the one in second, maybe just not as dynamic from his hip forward in terms of his look and presence. I think this one's still very sound, very flexible, lots of reach when you get on the move. I think he just has a shot more to him. Young lady's Weather in second. She gets this one propped up from the side and from his hip forward. I think he's the best in this class and maybe the best that we've had so far today. Just in terms of his elevation up front, he runs uphill, very smooth how he blends from his shoulder back into his forerib from there back. For me, just from behind, maybe wants to taper out of his pins, maybe wants to just get a notch shallower there in terms of his twist. Still awfully nice sheep there from the side. Really just a practical, good kind of a sheep that's going to end up here in third, and really just ran into two awfully nice ones up top. Plenty of dimension, plenty rugged in terms of his bone work. Maybe for me, just a notch plainer. In terms of his handle, I'd like to see a notch more aggressive shape there, but still an awfully nice weather for the young lady. Probably the heaviest muscled, the biggest hipped, biggest legged sheep is the one that's going to come here in fourth. Spans with the most width over his rack out of his hip. For me, just in terms of how he's designed from the side is where I'd like to modify him. A notch rounder in terms of his shoulder, wants to get a little bit high there in his spine, but that is one weather that is packed full of punch and meat when you get on either side of him. A young lady that's going to round out the class, really a nice patterned ewe lamb, one for me that just needs a shot more there from a muscle standpoint, just to move up and compete with the ones above her. Congratulations, all these exhibitors. That's a really nice class.
Congratulations to Class 5 winner Jory Miller, weighing in at 156. Second place, Caden Healy Mitchell. Third, Mahia Jones. Fourth, Alaria Cockburn. And fifth, Brindley Anderson. Entering the ring now is our Class 6 Hampshire Market Lambs, ranging in weights from 164 to 179. We have Rebecca Gardner, Brindley Stiver, Abigail Robertus, and Raina Johnson. This is Class 6 in the ring now. Class 7, you need to be checked in. And then I need first and second place class winners to be checked in as well for Champion Hampshire Drive.
Really a shapely, big back kind of a wether we're going to start with here. One that's still very elevated up front. His height to shoulder correctness in terms of his spine I still think is appropriate. Maybe one I'd like to, again, just drop in his flank just a little bit. I think that helps him balance as you study him from the side, but still compositionally very, very good. Still tall-shouldered, correct in terms of his lines. I really, really like that you lay him in second when you get her propped up from the side. I think one, in terms of her flank, from her chest back to her flank, proportions very well. She's good in terms of her feet and legs. Maybe for me in a market class, I would like to see her just a notch more shapely, lean her up just a touch. I think that's an awfully nice breeding ewe and go put her in production. Young lady that's going to round out in third, one that's really big-footed, one that's really rugged in terms of his build. I think he still proportions well when you study him from the side. Get your hands on him, probably a thicker heighted wether, maybe just a notch plainer, more nondescript in terms of his shape compared to the ones that are above him. I really like this one, how he proportions, how he's put together from the side. Just for me personally, need a shot more shape, want to see him just a notch more dynamic from a handling standpoint. Young lady is going to be here in fourth. Again, very proportionate, very correctly balanced kind of a sheep. Like the wether that's in front of her, maybe just not as correct in terms of her shape. Like to just open her up in terms of her body shape, stouten her up in her pin width, just to see her not quite as flat in terms of her body type when you get on either end of her. Still very good and very correct in terms of her lines. I like her look. I like her structure. Just need a shot more there.
Congratulations goes to Class 6 winner Raina Johnson, weighing in at 179. Second place, Rebecca Gardner. Third, Briley Stiver. And fourth, Abigail Robertus. Entering the ring now is our last class of Hampshire market lambs, ranging in weights from 186 to 202. Once again, this is Class 7 entering the ring now. We have Peyton Donna, Abigail Robertus, Dylan Lockenmeyer, and Rebecca Gardner. Once again, we need first and second place Hampshire market lambs to be checked in so we can enter our champion drive after Class 7 is done in the ring. From there, we will move into our naturals and then into our Southdowns.
Oh, we get into these heavies where they're pushing 200 pounds, and I think the weather we're going to start with is pretty impressive, and especially impressive for this weight. Still, just the freshness and the correctness there in terms of his handle that he has, I think is relatively impressive. You set this one into motion. I think he's still very good in terms of his build, still very good in terms of his balance and how he proportions. Just a nice weather to start with. Look forward to getting him back out here. I think these next three, I mean, you can jumble them just a notch depending on your priorities. Young ladies' weather that I'm going to use in second, for me, just does the most good and puts the most good together of these remaining three. I still think is relatively correct from a handling standpoint, from a build and balance standpoint where he has the edge over the weather in third. I think he's just laid in neater there at his shoulder. I think he proportions better and blends better from there back. Probably the stoutest weather in the class in terms of just overall width and dimension is the young ladies there in third. One that you really like, just the width he spans there over his back and out of his hip. Just a notch plain in terms of his shape. He's a notch further along from a condition standpoint. And then just in terms of his build, he wants to drop his neck there to the lower part of his shoulder. Maybe just doesn't stay together as well when he's set in motion. Maybe the best balanced, best looking sheep is the one that's going to end up in fourth. The tallest shoulder, the best in his spine, the best off of his hip and his hind leg. Just in this class, maybe from a composition standpoint, gets a little too far gone for me. A little plain in his shape, just need to trim him up, give him a more athletic look. Awfully good sheep when you study him from the side. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Really nice one on the top end.
Congratulations to Class 7 Hampshire Market Lamb winner Dylan Lockenmeyer, weighing in at 195. Second place, Abigail Robertus. Third, Peyton Donna. And fourth, Rebecca Gardner. Entering the ring will be our championship drive. We will place first and second for our Hampshire Market Lambs. From Class 2, weighing in at 116, Athena Schweihart. From Class 3, weighing in at 137, Molly Wilson. From Class 4, weighing in at 144, Raina Johnson. From Class 5, weighing in at 156, Jory Miller. From Class 6, we have Raina Johnson weighing in at 179. And from Class 7, weighing in at 195, Dylan Lockenmeyer. This is your championship drive, Hampshire Market Lambs, in the ring now. We will move right into the Natural Market Lamb show right after this. Once again, big thank you goes out to our sponsors, High Hog Farm and Ranch Equipment, sponsors of today's coffee and donuts before the show. You can find them out in the hallway just outside the door of the Barnett Fieldhouse. Thank you to Fleet Farm. Check out their store for all your farm, ranch, outdoor, and supply needs. South Dakota Farmers Union, uniting farmers, ranchers, and rural communities to strengthen South Dakota. Thanks to Carla and her team for the support.
We'll get out here for your champion drive, and I guess for me, for champion, it comes down to 3 of them out here. I asked them, I'm going to elect to bring 3 back just to have on standby as we have to select a top 5 overall. The young lady there out of the second class, this one gets put together from the side, and he is my favorite in that regard. I love how he blends. I love how he proportions. Young lady does a phenomenal job getting them put together. My question out here with a few of these heavyweights, is there enough just punch and power there? I think he's appropriate in terms of his degree of cover. I think he's appropriate in terms of his shape. Maybe just doesn't have the pop and the aggressive shape like a couple of them out here. But how he blends his shoulder, his underline, his hip, and his hind leg, I like that one a great deal here from the side. Young lady there out of the 4th class. You know, probably one that handles with the most shape there of those 2. I really like this one when you get your hands on him. Weather doesn't want to cooperate quite as much. I like him when he sets into motion in terms of his natural build and skeleton. I think he's good on his feet and legs. I think his neck comes correctly out of the top side of his shoulder. Gets over here from the side and maybe wants to over push just a little, wants to get a notch tight there, right there in the center part of his spine. But this is one that I think certainly has all the bells and whistles, lots of shape, lots of dimension. I still like him when he gets into motion. That weather there out of the last class, I think for that weight is very impressive just in terms of his degree of cover, the freshness he has. This is without question the biggest, freshest back sheep in this lineup, in my opinion, one that's still very good in terms of his underlying balance. Again, you set him into motion. I think he comes together really, really well. A lot like the one there 2 classes above him. Maybe he wants to overdrive just a touch here from the side, but still comes together good when you set him into motion. Awfully good lineup out here. I like him a great deal. I'll go select your champion and your top 3 here in this division. If you would, put your hands together for all these exhibitors.
Congratulations to the champion Hampshire Market Lamb from Class 7, weighing in at 195, Dylan Lockenmeyer. Reserve champion Hampshire Market Lamb comes to us from Class 5, Jory Miller, weighing in at 156. Entering the ring now will be Class 8 Natural Market Lambs, ranging in weights from 152 to 157. Wyatt and Andrew, we need you up here for your Class 8 entries. Wyatt and Andrew, we need you for your Class 8. Class 9 and 10, please be making it your way to the ring. Classes 9 and 10, please be making your way to the ring. Class 8 is trying to enter now. In the ring now is Class 8 Natural Market Lambs, ranging in weights from 152 to 157. We have Wyatt Heilbrunn, Cooper Dundon, and Andrew Johnson. Classes 9 and 10 natural market lambs, you need to be checked in.
Really a nice class here, and lots of differences, but lots of quality 1 through 3 here. Young man's whether that wins the class for me does so in motion. I think this one's just more appropriate in terms of his shoulder angle. I think he utilizes there his hip and his hind leg better than the young lady's weather in second. One that's still very good in terms of his touch. I like his forerib shape. I like his dimension. For me, it's just set in motion where he kind of walks away with this one. Young lady's weather is going to be in second. Without question, the best in terms of shape. Without question, the best in terms of handling quality. Just like to rearrange his build just a notch more. Okay, compared to the one above him, I think he's just a notch more forward in his shoulder. Just not as coordinated. Just doesn't move with as much authority off of his rear too when you set him into motion. Love the silhouette and the profile there of the young man's ewe lamb that's going to be in third. I think from shoulder and chest back to her flank, in terms of her top line, without question the best in this class from the profile. Just compared to those two, just gives up a little bit from a dimension and muscle standpoint. Just like to see more dimension there out of her hip through her lower leg. Awfully nice class. Really good third place in here too.
Congratulations to Class 8 natural winner, weighing in at 155, Cooper Dundon. Second place, Andrew Johnson. Third, Wyatt Heilbrunn. Entering the ring now is Class 9 natural market lambs, ranging in weights from 163 to 165. We have Violet Browning, Macy Philippek, and Mahia Jones. Class 9 naturals in the ring now. Class 10, you need to be checked in and ready. Lindy, we need your Class 10 entry. Lindy, we need your Class 10 entry.
this class winner in this one gets parked from the side and really like him. I like his look, his proportionality there. For me in this class, though, he's just the best when you get your hands on him. I think he's the freshest, most correct in terms of his composition. Set him into motion. He's probably just a little bit shorter in his step than I personally like. Gets a touch tight in his spine, but I think one that gives you an awfully nice look from the side. Really like that one compared to the rest when you get your hands on him. Really a big-footed, rugged-made kind of a weather going to be in second. He's tall-shouldered. One for me is maybe just a notch past his prime, a notch staler in terms of his composition. And when you get your hands on him, just like to freshen him up, lean him up a touch, I think you have a better shot here at the top end of this class. Big-footed, rugged, heavy-muscled kind of a sheep. Really a nice ewe lamb that the young lady's going to round out the class with. Correct in her spine, correct on her feet and legs. For me, just like to modify how she wedges from the side, shallower up in her chest, just give her a notch more fill and depth there to her flank. And then this is one in this class, maybe just like to trim her up a touch. Still very sound, very correct in terms of her skeleton and her spine, just needs to be trimmed up. Congratulations, those exhibitors. Really nice class of naturals.
That was your Class 9 Natural Market Lambs. First place, weighing in at 163, Violet Browning. Second place, Mahia Jones. And third, Macy Philippek. Entering the ring now is Class 10 Natural Market Lambs, ranging in weights from 170 to 180. We have Lindy Fillingham, Tegan Durner, and Messiah Jones. After this, we will move into our championship drive for naturals, and then into our Southdown show. Class 8, first and second placers, Cooper and Andrew. We need you up here with your lambs for the champion drive. Class 8 winner and second place, Cooper and Andrew. We need you up here for the champion drive.
Oh, young ladies, whether that wins this class does so rather handily for me. I think just puts the most good together. He's big-footed, one that handles incredibly well for this weight. He's big in terms of his back shape. He's fresh in terms of his handle. Just a nice place to start. For me, it gets a lot closer here in second and third, and for me, the young lady that's going to be in second, probably just a notch trimmer, a notch more correct from a composition standpoint. Maybe gives up some width in terms of her loin, width and just substance in terms of her bone work. But I think when compositionally is just more my speed. Young lady's going to round out the class. The weather just doesn't want to cooperate with her, wants to over brace a little bit. This is one I think just in terms of overall muscle and dimension, probably ranks second in this class. I like his substance. I like his bone work. For me, he's a notch plainer in terms of his handle, not quite as aggressive in terms of his shape, just like to maybe remodify just how he's put together when you study him from the side. Still a really nice class. It's a really challenging duo to round out the class.
Congratulations to Class 10 Natural Market Lamb winner, weighing in at 180, Messiah Jones. Second place, Lindy Fillingham. And third, Tegan Durner. Entering the ring will be our champion drive of Natural Market Lambs. From Class 8, weighing in at 155, we have Cooper Dundon. From Class 9, weighing in at 163, Violet Browning. And from Class 10, weighing in at 180, Messiah Jones. Southdowns, you need to be checked in. Southdowns, you need to be checked in.
Get out here for your champion natural, and no offense to the one that comes out of our third class, I think an awfully nice weather, but for me it's a two-horse race here between the first and the second class, and really depending on the times and when you see them, I prefer one over the other. The young man up front, this one's setting a motion, I think wins for fun in this drive. I think his skeleton is so good, his flexibility, I like his shoulder, I like his spine, I like how he utilizes his hip and his hind leg. You get your hands on him. I think this is one with spans really good over his rack and out of his hip. I would like to trim him up just a touch. I would like to lean him up just ever so slightly. You get him parked from the side. I still think he balances well. Maybe just wants to over push a little bit, wants to break in his loin. This one's setting a motion I think's awfully nice. Young lady out of the second class, different story. This one parked from the side I think is awfully good. Tall shouldered, good in his lines. This is the best one in terms of his shape, his trimness, his composition. You get your hands on him. For me, is he as burly as the one in front of him? I'd like to just stouten him up maybe just ever so slightly in terms of his forearm, see a notch more shape there out of his hip. For me, the biggest issue with him, you set him into motion, gets a little tight in his spine, just doesn't utilize his hip and his hind leg like I personally like. But still, I think it's close between those two. I think both of them, if I could put them together, there's a perfect one. I'm going to go with the added structure. Young man out of the first class is going to be your champion. Young lady is going to be your reserve.
Congratulations to our champion natural market lamb from Class 8, weighing in at 155, Cooper Dundon. Reserve champion natural market lamb comes to us from Class 9, weighing in at 163, Violet Browning. In the ring now is our Southdown market lambs, ranging in weights from 146 to 165. This is also your championship drive, Southdowns. We have Lindy Fillingham and Rebecca Gardner. Once again, this is your champion Southdown market lamb class. In the ring now, Specklefaces, you need to be checked in. Classes 12, 13, and 14. Specklefaces, you need to be checked in.
Get some give and take and some weight spread in this class. Young lady I'm going to start with, for me, he's just probably got a notch more to him. I think in terms of his forerib shape, in terms of the genuine dimension there out of his hip and his leg shape, I just prefer that there. Maybe one that I would like to freshen up. I'd like to trim him up from a composition standpoint. I think one that just puts more good together in terms of his chest, in terms of his lower body balance, in terms of his overall width and dimension. Young lady that's going to be in second is trimmer, is more correct from a composition standpoint, maybe wants to over push just a little bit, wants to drop in his chest floor. I'd like to see just a notch more boldness and dimension there in his forerib in the center body. Still an awfully nice weather. That's a really good pair of the Southdowns.
Congratulations to our champion Southdown market lamb, shown by Rebecca Gardner, weighing in at 165. Reserve champion Southdown comes to us from Class 11 as well, Lindy Fillingham. Congratulations, ladies. We're going to move into our Speckleface with a single entry in Class 12, weighing in at 145, Parker Dundon. Molly Wilson, we need your entry in Class 13. Molly Wilson to the ring. Classes 13 and 14, you need to be checked in.
Young man brings a really nice one to start off the spec division. One I think can certainly use some more competition. Good on his feet and legs, good in terms of his touch, very proportionate in terms of how he's put together. Look forward to getting this one back out here for the drive.
Congratulations to Class 12 winner Parker Dundon, weighing in at 145. Class 13 is about to enter the ring now. We have Speckleface market lambs ranging in weights from 155 to 162. Classes 16 and 17, you need to be getting ready. This is Class 13 entering the ring now. Speckleface Market Lambs ranging in weights from 155 to 162. We have Molly Wilson and Anthony Quick. Class 14, you need to be checked in and ready to go. Raina Johnson, we need your Class 14 entry. Class 13's in the ring. Class 14, Raina Johnson, we need your entry.
Really a nice class. Young ladies Weathers won just in terms of freshness, hide quality, and just look and build from the side. I prefer one that handles fresher in terms of his rack, especially fresher there over his loin edge. Just a nice place to start. A young man that's going to be in second, very practical kind of sheep, good on his feet and legs, spans with plenty of width for me, maybe just a notch staler in terms of his hide. I'd like to tighten him and thin him up in terms of his hide quality, just freshen him in terms of his loin edge. I think get along better compared to the one in front of him. Very nice class. Look forward to having those back out here.
That was your Class 13 leaving the ring. First place goes to Molly Wilson, weighing in at 155. Second place, Anthony Quick. Entering the ring now is Class 14 of our Speckleface Market Lambs, ranging in weights from 170 to 176. We have Raina Johnson and Avea Burgett.
Really a nice pair of sheep here to round out the spec division. Young lady's ewe lamb, I think's awfully nice. Just like some she brought earlier, very, very good handle, very highly presented sheep. one that I think just blends and comes together very good. And then I think just seals the deal. You set her into motion, very athletic off of both ends. Young lady's Weather in second. I think she does a great job in terms of getting this one propped up from the side. He's tall-shouldered. He's good in his lines. Maybe just doesn't have the pop, doesn't have the freshness of the ewe-lamb in front of us, but still awfully good build, awfully good presentation there when you study him from the side. Young lady does a good job. This is going to be an awfully good spec division.
Congratulations to Class 14 winner, Raina Johnson, weighing in at 170. Second place, Avea Burgett. Entering the ring now is our champion drive of Speckleface Market Lambs. From Class 12, we have Parker Dundon, weighing in at 145. From Class 13, Molly Wilson, weighing in at 155. And from Class 14, Raina Johnson, weighing in at 170. Once again, this is our champion Speckleface Market Lamb Drive. If you are in classes 16 and 17 of the Crossbred Market Lambs, you need to be checked in.
A nice drive here in the spec division. All three class winners I like quite a bit. The young man's up front, I think just fundamentally so good. Feet and legs are very good, adequate in terms of muscle. Maybe out here, maybe just not the pop and shape there when you get your hands on him. I still think one that is correct compositionally, just like a touch more wow factor to him, fundamentally so correct and so sound. Young lady there out of the second class. You know, from his hip forward, I really like him. I think this is without question the best in terms of his freshness and his rack shape. I think he's ideal in terms of his composition and his handle. You set him into motion, he's a little shorter in his hip, wants to come in at his hock ever so slightly from behind. Young lady does a phenomenal job getting this one propped up. Young lady there out of the last class, you know, a heavier ewe-lamb, one that's very dimensional, still very fresh for this weight. I love this ewe-lamb. You set her into motion. I think feet and legs are very good. I think her set to her hips good. She's square and correct in her hind leg set. I think just an awfully nice drive. I think three very good class winners. I'll get you a champion reserve.
Congratulations goes to our champion Speckleface Market Lamb from Class 13, Molly Wilson, weighing in at 155. Reserve champion Speckleface Market Lamb comes to us from Class 14, Raina Johnson, weighing in at 170. Congratulations, exhibitors. We're moving into our Crossbred Market Lambs. Entering the ring now is Class 16, Keenan McNearney, Kylie Davies, and Cooper Sanchez, all ranging in weights from 111 to 128. Once again, this is Class 16 Crossbred Market Lambs. In the ring now, Classes 17 and 18, you need to be checked in. Once again, thank you to our sponsors, Farm Credit Services of America, First Interstate Bank, Cattle Business Weekly, producing our sale catalog and providing the ring service, Texacoda Panels. A special thank you to Darren for his help and support in providing us with the extra pens and panels to keep the goats and sheep this weekend. Tri-State Livestock News, what the ranchers read, and Western Legacy Foundation, investing in the future by raising money for scholarships that benefit rural youth in agriculture. WW Livestock Equipment, provider of the show ring panels and longtime supporter of the youth.
Really a nice class as we get into our crosses. A young man's ewe lamb we're going to start with. For me, just in terms of her build and her balance, from her shoulder back, I think she has the edge over the young ladies there in second. Just how she blends, she's more correct in terms of her top line. She's more correct in her lower body balance. Like to square up her hock just a little bit. I still think just in terms of quality from the side, that's where she wins. Young lady there in second, really a nice touching, really a nice handling ewe lamb. For me, just from the side, a little bit deeper and longer there in terms of her blade. Wants to kind of cut up to her flank, just like to stouten her up in her bone work as well. Really a tall shoulder, really an extended kind of a weather young lady brings next. For me, just needs a notch more pop and dimension when you get on top of him. Just like to see more dimension there over his rack, there out of his hip. Still a really nice weather for the young lady to bring out here. Congratulations to all those exhibitors.
Congratulations to Class 16 Crossbred Market Lamb winner, Cooper Sanchez, weighing in at 128. Second place, Kylie Davies. Third, Keenan McNearney. Entering the ring now is Class 17 Market Lambs, ranging in weights from 133 to 145. We have Wyatt Halbrun, Kylie Davies, Casey Quang, Kylie Davies, Cooper Sanchez, and Peyton Donna. Once again, this is Class 17 in the ring now. Class 18 and 19, you need to be checked in. Raina, we need your entry. Raina, we need your entry.
Are really a good trio, and I think some challenge between them. I think depending your priorities, maybe can move it just a little bit. Young ladies, whether I'm going to start with, for me, puts the most good together. I think of these three, she is the most ideal compositionally. I think one that's tall-shouldered, still good in terms of his lines, and just still paints a nice picture when she gets them propped up from the side. Young ladies, Ulam in second. This is my favorite when they're set in a motion. I think this one, in terms of freshness, I think in terms of her breastplate, I think is the best. I like how she blends in terms of her lower body balance. Maybe just not as massive in terms of when you get your hands on her. Still a nice shape compared to the one in third, just more ideal from a composition standpoint. I like her up front and how she's assembled as well. From the shoulder back, I like this Ulam in third. Very bold in terms of her body shape, spans with a lot of width. Maybe just a notch plainer, a notch softer to the touch. I'd like to fix her up front, maybe just in terms of clean her up in her breastplate, shorten her up in her blade length, but still awfully nice Ulam when you study her from her shoulder back. Young lady that's going to come next, one that has some dimension, has some shape. For me, just need to rearrange how she's put together when you study her from the side. Two that are going to round out the class, tall-shouldered, very long-sided. For me, just need more cover to them. Want to bulk them up in terms of their forerib. See just a notch smoother in terms of how they transition from the side. Still a really good class. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations to Class 17 winner, Peyton Donna, weighing in at 145. Second place, Casey Quang, weighing in at 134. Third, Cooper Sanchez. Fourth, Kylie Davies. Fifth, Kylie Davies with the second entry. And sixth, Wyatt Heilbrunn. Class 18 entering the ring now. Crossbred Market Lambs, ranging in weights from 156 to 162. We have Jory Miller, Kylie Davies, Caden Haley Mitchell, Xander Oliver, and Raina Johnson. This is Class 18 Crossbred Market Lambs in the ring now. Classes 19, 20, and 21, you might as well be checked in at this point.
a pretty big fan of the weather we're going to start this class off with. I think one that just does so many good things, and probably my favorite thing about him compared to the rest is when you set him in motion. I think his angles are right. I think his flexibility in terms of his skeleton's right, and he handles awfully good as well. I think it's getting closer here in second and third in two different kinds. Young ladies in second, bigger footed, probably just a notch more burly in terms of his shape. He's big in his back shape. He's stout in his pin set, has more leg dimension. For me, from the side and in motion, I'd like to just hold him together up front just a notch better. I'd give him a notch more fill there to his rear rib and flank, but still from a handling standpoint, I like him. Young lady, similar to a wether they brought earlier, I like the bits and pieces there from the side. Such a phenomenal job getting this one propped up. He's tall shouldered. He's good in his spine. You set with this one in motion. He's good in terms of his angles. Is there just enough width and mass there to compete with the two above him? And that's probably where I hold it the hardest against him. Fresh in terms of his hide, very tight-hided. Just want to see a little bit more width and dimension there. Young lady that's going to come next. Big in terms of his rack. He's stout in his pin set. Maybe just doesn't give you that perfect silhouette from the side. Like to shallow him up in his chest floor. See him just a notch more shape there to his leg when you study him from the side. Still, she's done a good job feeding that one, getting him to this point. Handles really nice in terms of his rack and his loin shape. Very practical, functional kind of a sheep that's going to round out the class. Good in terms of his body shape, good in terms of his dimension, maybe just a little past his prime from a condition standpoint. I'd like to just trim him up, see him a notch leaner to compete with the ones above him. Congratulations to these showmen. That's a really good trio on the top end.
Congratulations to your Class 18 Crossbred winner, weighing in at 156, Jory Miller. Second place going to Raina Johnson. Third, Caden Healy Mitchell. Fourth, Kylie Davies. And fifth, Xander Oliver. Entering the ring now is Class 19 Crossbreds, ranging in weights from 165 to 168. We have Brindley Anderson, Raina Johnson, and Avea Burgett. In the ring now, Class 19 Crossbred Market Lambs. Class 19 is in the ring now. Class 20 and 21, we need you up here and checked in. Classes 20 and 21, we need you checked in. For Class 20, we need Rebecca and Cooper. We need you checked in. Rebecca and Cooper, we need you checked in with your Class 20 entries.
Really a nice class, and depth of quality is good in this class across is young ladies weather for me. Set this one in motion, and just the front end assembly of this weather is what I prefer. Really tall shouldered, short bladed, cleaner in terms of his chest floor. Set him into motion. He maintains that. Very athletic in his build. Handles really well also. Young lady in second, you get your hands on him, without question the most impressive in terms of his rack shape. Love the hide quality in this weather. Maybe wants to play out, just get a notch stale in terms of his loin edge. You set this one into motion, wants to drop in his chest floor. Just like to see him reassembled up front. Young lady is going to round out the class. Really tall shouldered, really correct in terms of his structure and his lines. For me, just needs a notch more wow factor and pop when you get your hands on him. Congratulations to those three exhibitors. That's a really nice class.
Congratulations to Class 19 Crossbred Market Lamb winner, Raina Johnson, weighing in at 167. Second place, Avaya Burgett. And third, Brinley Anderson. Entering the ring now is Class 20 Crossbred Market Lambs, ranging in weights from 175 to 178. We have Rebecca Gardner, Briley Stivar, Afton McIntosh, Cooper Dundon, and Macy Philippek. In the ring now is Class 20 Crossbred Market Lambs, ranging in weights from 175 to 178. If you are Class 21, you need to be checked in. And then I need first and second place class winners for the Crossbreds to start getting checked in. That way they are ready for the champion drive.
Molly Wilson, you are needed for Class 21. That is the last class of Crossbreds. So if you have a Class 1 or 2 in the Crossbred division, you are on deck. That will be followed by the overall champion market lamb. So everybody that's got a lamb in the final drive, heads up.
maybe find some challenge and some give and take here in the middle three. But young man's weather, I think, wins from the time he walks in the ring. One that's just the most appropriate in terms of his handle. He's still appropriate in terms of how he's put together. Still good enough in terms of his running gear. Like to lay his shoulder in just a notch neater, but still handles with a lot of width and dimension just to complement that. These next three, I think there's give and take. And for me, the young lady, kind of like she's brought all day, deadly looking when she gets him propped up from the side. Tall shouldered, good in his lines. I think for me, when you set him into motion, this is the one of these three that still handles correctly in terms of his front shoulder in motion, his hip and his hind leg in motion, and holds together. Young lady that's going to be in third. Really like this one from the profile. I like how she wedges from her chest back to her flank compared to the one above her. Maybe just not as shapely in her rack. Maybe needs a notch more wow factor there. Still, she does a great job getting her shown. Really like her from the side, like her in motion. Young lady that's going to end up here in fourth probably gives me the most struggle. This is probably the biggest back, the biggest pinned, biggest legged sheep in this class. Just doesn't tie it together when you set her in motion. He wants to drop there in his chest. Just doesn't keep his neck coming out of the top side of his shoulder. Just like to give him a little more presence, a little more look and balance from the side. Young lady that's going to round out the class, still a really nice ewe lamb. I think one that market fundamentals does some things well. Good in terms of composition and shape, good in terms of dimension, just doesn't have that added look and dimension and wow factor like the ones above them. Really nice class. That's a really tough trio in the middle.
Class 21. Class 21 is entering the ring. That is Exhibitor 285, Molly Wilson, and Exhibitor 362, Peyton Donna. If you have a class winner in the Crossbred Market Lamb division, you are needed in the makeup area. Also the seconds. First and seconds in the Crossbred Market Lamb division to the makeup area immediately. Placings in Class 20, 326, Cooper Dundon was first. Second was Rebecca Gardner. Third was Afton McIntosh. 4 was Briley Stavar. And 5th was Macy Philippek. Again, if you have a first or second in the Market Lamb division, you are needed in the makeup area immediately. At the conclusion of the Market Lamb show, we will pick your overall Market Lamb. That will be the champion in reserve Dorset, champion in reserve Hamp, champion in reserve Natural, champion in reserve Southdown, champion in reserve Speckle, and champion in reserve Crossbred.
So you maybe couldn't have two more different types and kinds in here. Young lady's ewe lamb, get this one stuck. I think one that is more correct from her shoulder back in terms of how she transitions. I like this one, how she blends and how she patterns. Still more correct from a composition standpoint. I like her off of her hip and her hind leg. No question the young lady's weather is stouter, is wider, is more dimensional, spans with more overall width and dimension. For me, maturity's kind of setting in on this one just up front in terms of his chest. Want to clean him up there, want to just freshen him up there in terms of his handle as well. Awfully nice pair, very different. Congratulations, these two young ladies.
All right, now we're entering the ring for Champion Crossbred Drive. Class 16 winner Cooper Sanchez. Class 17 winner Peyton Donna. Class 18 winner Jory Wilson. Class 19 winner, Rihanna Johnson. Class 20 winner, Cooper Dundon. And Class 21 winner, who was first here?
For which one?
I did not catch this.
I wasn't paying attention. Ben, were you paying attention? It's okay. We'll just.
Who won the last class? Do we know?
What? Cooper Sanchez.
All right, now we need the seconds. Out of class 16, we need Kylie Davies.
They're just on standby over here. They're not going in the ring.
These people need to be on standby in the makeup area. Class 16, Kylie Davis. Class 17, Casey Quang. Sorry. Class 18, Rihanna Johnson. Class 19, Avia Burgett. And Class 20, Rebecca Gardner. And Class 21, Peyton Donna. If you have a breed champion or reserve, you are needed in the makeup area.
Let me take a picture of that and give it to Lily.
Those of you needed in the makeup area for our grand drive are this: champion Dorset, Cooper Sanchez; reserve McKenna Cockburn; champion Hamp, Dylan Lackenmeyer; reserve Joni Miller. We also would like the third, which is Molly Wilson. Our champion natural is Cooper Dundon. Our reserve is Violet Browning. Our champion Southdown is Rebecca Gardner. Reserve is Lindy Fillingham. Our champion Speckle is Molly Wilson, and our reserve Speckle is Rihanna Johnson.
Well, a really nice crossbred drive, and going to elect to ask 4 of these to come back out here for your champion overall selection, or at least be on standby. I think it comes down to 2 of them for me in terms of champion and reserve. I think 2 of them that build-wise I really like. Handle-wise, I think are awfully good. Maybe have some differences there. A young lady out of the 3rd class. This one hit me pretty hard when he came in. I think you set this one into motion. I like his angles. I like his flexibility on the move. He's good in terms of his spine. Maybe wants to over push out here just a little bit, but one that still gives a really nice silhouette. You get your hands on him. I think this is one that maybe spans with as much width over his rack as anything. Maybe he's a notch softer to the touch than a couple of these on either side of him. One I'd like to see just a notch more genuine in terms of his pin width and dimension there out of his dock. But I think one that is awfully good on the move. I really like him when you set him up from the side, just in terms of the pattern and the look that he has. Young lady there out of the next class, class 4. Again, another one that hit me pretty hard when he came in. I really like just the composition, the freshness, the look, the build in this one. One of the other 2 sheep in here that I think paint just a really good picture from the side. Love this one when you set him in motion. He's short-bladed. He wedges correctly. For me, when you get your hands on him, maybe doesn't span with as much width as the one in front of him, but I think probably is a notch trimmer, is a notch more genuine in terms of his width. I think this one's more genuine and wider and squarer in his pin set as well. I think an awfully nice weather. That's an awfully nice pair of them. A young man there out of the next class, one that I do think is contention at the top end of this, just wide, constructed, dimensional, really burly in terms of his body shape. Like we said in class, maybe could lay his neck or his shoulder in just a little bit better. Maybe could just freshen him up, make him a notch more youthful in terms of his look and build as well. But this is one you set him in motion. Again, good in terms of his angles, good in terms of his flexibility. Young lady out of the last class, one that's different in this drive. I think on the stand, really like just how she wedges, how she proportions. For her weight, she's still very fresh. I still think she's ideal from a composition standpoint. Set her into motion. She wants to drop in her chest just a little bit. Like to see her neck come out better out of the top side of her shoulder. Still a very nice ewe lamb in this drive. If you would, please put your hands together for all these exhibitors. I'm going to go on and select 4 of them to come back out here.
Congratulations to those of you that were just made the top 4 in the market lamb, in the crossbred market lamb division. We are now ready to enter the ring for our champion drive. Entering now will be our champion Dorset, Cooper Sanchez.
We might have to give him a sec because a couple joined.
Yeah.
Okay. Raina Johnson, Jory Miller were your.
Back to the crossbred division. Our champion was Rihanna Johnson. Our reserve was Jory Miller. 3rd was Cooper Dundon. And 4th was Molly Wilson.
Do you need help lining
Cooper Dundon, you're needed in the makeup area.
Yes, please.
All right, here we go for your grand drive. Champion Dorset is Cooper Sanchez. What did she say?
He's coming right here. All the way to the front. Thank you. He's coming all the way to the front, right here. Who else do you need?
All right, here we go. Champion Dorset is Cooper Sanchez. Our champion Hampshire is exhibited by Dylan Lackenmeyer. Our champion Natural is exhibited by Cooper Dundon. Our champion Southdown is by Rebecca Gardner. Our champion Speckle is from Molly Wilson. Our champion Crossbred is Rihanna Johnson. Once again, our judge for the day is Bobby Strecker. He comes from Holyoke, Colorado, where he currently works as the regional sales manager for ABS Global. Along with his wife and 2 kids, they own and operate S&S Livestock, where they raise and sell competitive show wethers and does across the Midwest. Bobby grew up on a diversified livestock operation in Lexington, Virginia, where his family raised and sold show cattle. He attended Hutchinson Community College in Kansas and Colorado State, where he was a member of the livestock judging team and received a degree in animal science. Let's please give him a round of applause as he finishes up here today. Just a reminder to you exhibitors, when we get our top 5 placed, we are going to go as a group over to the large backdrop in Mount Rushmore Hall. So don't run off, please.
Well, if you would, please put your hands together for all the exhibitors out here today. You know, really want to thank the Black Hills Stock Show Committee for having me out here to sort and work with your kids yesterday for the goat show and the sheep show today. You know, it's an industry I love. It's an industry I've been fortunate to grow up in back in Virginia and then out here as well, both working with families, you know, with their goats and other projects and all through college and now today. And I really hope my kids are able to do this as well as they get older. You know, over the last 5 to 10 years, the competitiveness of the show industry has grown and gotten more and more competitive by the year, and I love it. I love competition. I love competitiveness. It's something that feeds me and wants me to get better and better every day. You know, my one recommendation for you guys and breeders back in the barn, fitters back in the barn, parents, let's make sure that just because it's so competitive, let's make sure that we're still willing to help people. Okay, let's not let the negativity in this world that's going on now get into 4-H and FFA programs. I think this is one of the best ways to raise youth and to develop them. I think the work ethic, the discipline that comes out of showing livestock is second to none and can't be found anywhere else in the industry. Let's just make sure we're still willing to keep the correct things and the right things first and make sure to help each other. Young people, we saw some extremely highly presented livestock in here today and in here yesterday as well. What I challenge you with is find somebody, whether it's a breeder, whether it's a fitter ringside, whether it's another exhibitor that you look up to, ask them for help. I promise you, although it's scary at first, those people are more willing to help you to get better and see you succeed than any other thing you can do, whether it be sports or whatnot. So please reach out to those people, ask them for help. You older exhibitors, let that be your legacy, to leave a lasting impact in the show ring by helping that next generation get better. Cherish them succeeding as well. So once again, if you would, please put your hands together for all these exhibitors. I'm not going to talk the sheep. I'll go get you a top 5.
Our champion market lamb goes to Rihanna Johnson. Our reserve is Jory Miller. Our third overall is Dylan Lackenmeyer. Our fourth overall is Cooper Dundon. And our fifth overall is Jory Miller. Those of you at the top 5, congratulations. Please stay put in the ring. We are going to proceed directly over to Rushmore Hall to take pictures as a group. Again, top 5, stay put. We are going to proceed to Mount Rushmore Hall as a group to take pictures. Thanks to all of you for coming. Great show.